What's up, guys? Welcome back to Casually Canine. I'm Casey.
I'm Kate.
And we are here to talk about a lot of stuff.
Really?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. We'll see how far we get.
So I just looked over at you and you went like, you like took a big deep breath before you did the welcome. And it made me think of, okay, I hope other people can relate to this, but listening to my dad's voicemail, there's something about like the baby boomer generation that I think they don't realize that they can take as many times as they want to do their voicemail. It's like one shot. They've got one shot in their brain. It's like, this is do or die. You gotta get it out in one.
You gotta do
and
it
you better
now.
not take a breath. So literally every voicemail my dad has ever had, it's like a huge breath before he says it. And you also hear it. Like you think it's hilarious as well. My mom's noticed it too. But anyways, you just reminded me of that.
No. Is that a good thing?
I mean, I love my dad, and it makes me laugh. Okay. So it's a good, we'll just say,
I guess if you love your dad and it makes you laugh, then that's a good thing.
It's not a bad good. It's a neutral thing. It was just like made me think of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's start off strong.
Let's start off by tripping up all of our words.
Yeah.
Cheers. It's Monday morning by us. We were going to record this yesterday. We got back from a pack walk and I texted Kate. I was outside and I was like, are we doing the podcast today?
Well, I was just getting ready to go walk the dogs.
And you were like, let's do it tomorrow morning because we like the idea of doing this to start our morning.
Yeah, it's not even just like the idea. I just prefer it more than like a Sunday afternoon. So you text me and I was like, no. Let's do it in the morning because I like doing it over lattes.
No.
Usually it's like after a good, night's sleep versus it being at the end of the day. I don't like it to feel like something where it's like, oh, we have to do this.
Yeah.
So it's like in the morning, it's enjoyable. It's right after you do first outs and here we are.
So Caitlin got a new phone on Friday. Funny story. It
delivered.
It's also it delivered on Friday. It's also my pet peeve of the week, but we'll get to that later. So Caitlin gets her phone and she's in the process of, what's your old phone? An iPhone 11?
iPhone 11 Pro Max. And this one's the iPhone 15 Pro Max.
And I think you've talked about it on here, how the battery is just total garbage on that thing now.
Literally I have to plug it in after going out for a walk and doing 3 stories. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
So anyways, she gets a new phone and you have to go through this process of getting all of your photos and videos.
Oh yeah, everyone knows this like obnoxious
off your cloud
process.
Thing. Or it's changed so many times over the years through how they do that. But So yesterday afternoon, I go to you had tried to factory reset this thing. You had to factory reset it and then send it in the old one. Mm-hmm. So Caitlin, I asked her, I'm like, did it factory reset? No. So I go in there to try to do it. I hit like 2 buttons.
I hear from the other room, woo! And I'm like, oh, geez.
Okay, no, what was that? It sounds like a dog.
No, woo! It's like an alarm.
And it's
because mine's way different than yours.
It does. You were like, oh
my God. I cannot wait for people to have like their ears are being blown off with, you just were so close to it. I saw your little thingy, your light go like red.
We're looking at our audio over there. Mine is pretty big.
Yeah.
So it did this emergency noise thing and then popped up on the screen. It says like, we just had an emergency SOS.
Crisis mode. It's a crisis mode.
Yeah, crisis mode on the screen. And the screen is completely locked.
It still is. We don't know what to do.
You can't turn it on. You can't turn it off. You can't click, like if you click anything on the screen, it doesn't work. The only thing that works is to call the paramedics.
Oh,
so,
no. So we're like,
we didn't find out if
we
this
didn't call
worked.
the paramedics.
But you were like, what should we do with this thing? And it went off. I'm like, well, I think the paramedics are coming. Like, I think that we're going to see the ambulance come down the street here any second.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't know if that can, I guess I'm not sure. Maybe that's why they have that. But I had already switched over. So there was no like data on that old phone. So I don't know. Whatever. It's lame.
But I thought it could still connect to Wi-Fi. That was my thing.
Do you hear that?
Yeah, I do.
I literally,
Birdie,
in the background, all I hear is licking noise. You guys know.
Chewing on her paws. I had a video over the
she's
weekend.
licking the bottom region of her, and it's just like. It's almost worse than me.
Oh, we have an
It's
ear
almost
problem.
worse than me eating my tuna melt.
Oh my God. We have an ear problem this morning. I can see it.
Yeah. Whenever BB has an ear problem, which is actually not that frequent, we've gotten a lot better with it, but she's a pretty frequent ear issue dog, and one of her ears will just fully like hang low, and she just wakes up like that. And we're like, what is going on?
She very much exaggerates it too, but yeah, she does wake up like
baby. It. Okay. But otherwise, yesterday we had the pack walk. I was actually pretty surprised. Mr. Louie Man struggled quite a bit, which is honestly slightly refreshing, probably for people that have not. Okay, so say you have a challenging dog and you hear us talk about like, this dog's really struggling with this, we're focusing on little progress. And then you hear a dog that's like really not had many issues whatsoever, kind of struggle. The people with the challenging dogs are probably like, sweet, it's not just my like.
He was setting off the challenging dogs.
He was. He was.
A little bit.
Everyone at the pack walk was doing really well except for Louie.
Yeah, I feel like he was a little bit. I don't think the owners maybe even noticed, but
they were just like aroused around him. It was so weird because he really has been. He's this little doodle guy in training right now, and he honestly has been such a blast to work with. Like, has a really nice temperament, hasn't had a lot of the consistent things we've seen in doodles. Like, he just seems quite balanced, but he had a really hard time at the pack walk yesterday. And it was more me walking around and engaging with everyone but him. And that's what was really making him whine, right?
Yeah, he was like not having it. And so I'm there with this dog. I honestly thought like he wasn't going to have any issues.
No, we're like, he'll be the easy one to bring.
And he was the whiniest and loudest there. So that was interesting. Yeah, good to see from our point of view. Like, this is reality. Probably if he gets into a situation at home with his actual owners. So it was good for us to see.
Yeah, it was just interesting because that's where you can like go somewhere with your dog and plan for how they're going to react, and you could be totally wrong. So it's like, that's where you have to kind of manage expectations and roll with the punches and do what you got to do and keep energy as right as you possibly can. But yeah, neither of us were expecting that with Mr. Lou Man.
No.
Yeah.
What else happened this week? Anything interesting that was
No, I don't feel like we have anything
worthy?
like, well, I guess
hold
I
on.
can
I got something.
follow up. It was going to be kind of my highlight, but I can pick a new highlight. Is we obviously ended the peeve or our last podcast with a pretty clear peeve on my end.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say that. I was just thinking that.
Going into. So last
What
time.
are you staring at, Katie?
I'm trying to get it out, but you keep interrupting me.
Oh, okay.
So I was talking about how my peeve was the kitchen, especially the island area, peninsula. That was just a problem. It was just not being finished. Well, guess who finished it from the last time we spoke? And it was interesting that I was like thinking, what are we waiting on? Like, what is this that we're waiting on? And it was weird how he was able to get it done in like 2 days after. Not that it took you 2 days, but like you went to the store one day, then the next day you pretty much hammered it out. And it looks very good.
Thank you.
Yep. Job well done.
Thank you.
And today, well, we're recording on Monday morning. So here in about an hour and a half-ish, we have the person coming to do some of the last minute things that we had been talking about with you guys, of like, we have some odds and ends things of like the warranty stuff to finish up on the kitchen. So that person's coming this morning too. And then after that, I don't know if they're hanging the free hanging shelves or not. Yes.
Yep,
okay.
yep.
So then after that,
I was doing that today.
Bada boom, bada bang, we're in action. And you've got a happy Kate.
I mean, I don't want to like be the pessimist or the Debbie Downer, but I just have a feeling it's not going to all show up the way that we want it to today.
Oh, I know.
So,
I'm well aware. Yeah.
I just don't want you to like get your hopes up and be like, we're
No.
done with this thing. And then like,
when people show me who they are, I trust them. I believe them.
Yeah.
So we've had, an interesting
you
situation.
can
with
count
all
on
this.
me.
Yeah, man.
Look at that job right there.
Yeah, I just had to put a little peeve pressure on you. You're like, shit, she put it on the podcast. Now I really got to get it done because Casey's has his little fan club of, wow, he's such a hard worker. Oh, you're just so lucky. He's so helpful.
Holy shit. Am I not a hard worker though?
You are 100% that. But
okay. All right. Just want to make sure that's crystal clear.
10 out of 10.
Okay.
Crystal. Like I know this for sure, but it's cute. You have your little fan club of people that, and I appreciate it too. Cause I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What?
What?
What gender are they?
Casey, what gender are they? Well, let's just say based on analytics, like 90% of our following they identify as female. So
yeah.
It's typically your lady friends that are cheering you on. There's never been a guy that's like, wow, Casey's such a hard worker. No, literally never.
Yeah, I know. It's just funny. It's just funny how you like, after our last podcast came out last week, you're like, oh, Casey has his fan club again.
People think he's so funny.
And it doesn't really bother you or anything like that.
No, I think it's cute.
You think it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
But, anyways.
Did you have a topic for the day?
Yeah, more of a discussion. Yeah.
Okay. What's your discussion?
You want to get to it right now or?
Is there something you wanted to add about the island? Because I saw you kept looking over at it. Oh my gosh.
I just
sorry to interrupt.
No.
Is your peeve gonna be the throwing of the package, or just tell about that? Because that was your peeve one time.
Yeah,
tell about it.
I'm freaking still. I mean, you saw how pissed I was when
you
told me about that.
Jeez, I was not expecting like you to be that upset. So bring everyone back to your peeve of that one time.
I don't know how long ago I had this peeve.
Doesn't matter.
A couple months ago, my peeve was our FedEx delivery person not doing their job correctly. And when I say not doing their job correctly, I mean like literally not delivering the packages where they should go. They'll deliver them in front of the garage door or at the corner of the house where we cannot even see the packages. Okay. And this is a consistent thing.
He's very upset right now. He's got his firm hand pointing outside as if people can see this.
I'm pointing to it like you know where it is. Saturday, not yesterday, 2 days ago, I was down in the kennel room. Kate was coming back from running an errand or something, and I was in the kitchen. Shoots me a voice message and says, "You're not going to believe what I just saw the FedEx delivery person do." And I listened to it and I was like, "Oh no! Like what could it possibly be?"
Well, then I said, "I'll be down in a few minutes. I'll tell you when I get down there."
She sees our FedEx delivery person get out of his. They have vans, right? He
was in like a normal FedEx van, like
a Sprinter van or whatever,
similar to the UPS look.
Gets out, tosses the package in front of the door. Not the front door, guys.
The
garage door, which, mind you, we can't even see our garage doors from our front door. Like it's around the corner. So we don't even, granted, anytime he delivers a package, we don't know it's there. You can't see it at the front door. Everybody else, UPS, we have Amazon delivery in our area. Everybody else delivers it to the door where we can see it. It's out of the way. In fact, the UPS guy,
his eyes are bulging right now.
In fact, the UPS guy literally chased me down to our kennel room building on Friday to deliver the phone. It needed a signature. And actually scared the hell out of me because I was out in the kennel room yard.
Been like, oh my God.
And I was out there with one of our dogs who had just gotten dropped off, boarding dogs. And comes around the corner. "Hey, UPS, I need a signature." I was like, "What?" And I just told him I'd meet you right outside. Meets me outside. I'm like, "How'd you know I was down here?" Well, he didn't just magically go down there.
Thank goodness. I don't want people just walking down there.
No, but like I'm talking about the effort. All right. So the boarding dog's parent was leaving and he showed the UPS guy that I was down there. So the UPS guy walked down our kind of steep hill looking for me to get my signature to get Caitlin's phone.
Okay.
I was like, wow. I got back into the kennel room. I texted Kate. I'm like, your phone's here. UPS guy actually met me down in the kennel room. Haha, like, yeah. Like, how funny.
Okay, get back to the FedEx. So let me explain it because you said he tossed it. I told you.
I'm going back to it.
He slid it across.
He tossed it.
Yeah, he did toss it, but like it was like a slide.
Barely left his van. Okay.
He took a step out. Slid it, took the picture, got back into the car or to the van,
and speeds off
and left.
This guy is lucky that his clothes. All right, so
that it was clothing.
It's clothing. So obviously, yeah, you can toss it, and it's hopefully not going to be damaged if it were like a hard package.
Look at your whatever it's called.
Audio.
You have very high. So you've been very aggravated at the story.
Caitlin comes down and tells me this, and I was immediately pissed.
I was not expecting to be so upset.
I was heated.
He was going to call.
I was going to call the center, the distribution center where this guy works at, and start to tell like his supervisors or something, because
I talked him out of it.
It is, to be frank, you're just not doing your job. Like, you're not doing it. Like, this is how, like, you ever seen those videos on the internet of like people like delivery workers, whatever, like tossing packages over fences and shit like that, and it's like TVs and like other expensive things. Oh my god,
if it was a TV I would have called, but a pair of shorts and a t-shirt I'm not that worried about.
No, next time I see him, I'm gonna have a friendly word with him.
Okay. Well, I told Casey not to call, and no one's right or wrong in this situation. We can both have our different thoughts around this, but I don't know. There's something about me that like he does seem very lazy. So I'm not saying that he's an extremely lazy person, it seems, but he just never looks happy. And I'm like, I don't want to make, like, what if he's a really sad person and he's just like, you know what? I've got to make ends meet. And I understand everyone has their trials and tribulations, but I'm kind of like, he got the package here in one piece. Like,
no, I think it's extremely lazy.
He is definitely lazy.
Like not a good front for FedEx, right? Like I just know when that guy shows up that the package is never going to be in front of the door where we can see it. It's just because you want to end this. You're done with this.
I'm done with the FedEx, man.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm still going.
I'm still going.
That's how she does it, guys. Okay, like we're done with this one.
I'm done with this topic.
Yeah. It doesn't bother her as much as it bothers me, but
no, not at all.
It's not even the fact that my dad works at UPS. He is a UPS delivery driver. It's not even the fact that he does that. It's just the fact that, like, we pay for delivery, or it was included with the purchase. It should be at the door or place where I can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. What's our topic, man?
I lied. I don't have one.
Oh my gosh. You're supposed to be the podcast host. Comes with no topics. Asks me, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Okay. What was your... Okay. If you're... Carry on.
What was that?
Carry on. I lost my words.
Carry on.
Carry on.
Carry on, my wayward son.
Oh, we're singing. We're singing. Well, it's better than dead air.
Yeah. Nobody likes dead air.
Yeah.
So something I wanted to talk about this week is an experience that we had with two of our training dogs this past week on a little outing we did. We went to a local park, and it was kind of like we were actually going to go to a little bit of a downtown area, and in hindsight, it was a blessing that we didn't go to the spot. We went to a quieter county park.
Like super quiet.
Yeah, super quiet. I mean, there were like two other cars there. We had never been there before. And we took our two shepherds, training dogs. And I think we've talked about on Instagram that these guys can be aroused very quickly. One of them is a especially vocal guy sometimes when it comes to
everything. It's not even like everything. A vocal from a higher correction or from it will just come out of nowhere at times too.
So I had the male shepherd Bruno. You had Stella, the female, and right off the bat, Bruno is causing me to have a little bit of frustration because he is blowing off heel. He's being extremely loud when I'm trying to correct him back into that spot.
Can we back up a little bit?
Sure.
So this is important for you to hear exactly what Casey just said. Bruno is causing me frustration. That was very, very true and very fair to say, but that was very much what you guys as owners would experience. Like, we have to, and not saying that trainers never get frustrated, but back up. This was not just him starting to get pushy at the walk. He was whiny in the car. He was fine as long as I was around. It was not just him pushing heel in case he's just correcting him for heel. Like, make sure you're giving the full picture of he was trying to literally just pop out of a down that he knows solidly in the car because Stella and I had already gotten out and we were already walking around. I actually had Casey take Bruno because I thought Stella was going to be the more challenging one of the two of them, because Bruno had been, making really good progress and things like that. But Casey had not handled him out on an outing yet with me, and especially not with another dog around. So it was starting in the car, not on the, like, I could even hear Bruno, Casey's doing nothing and he's holding it down in the car just because he wants to get it out. And of course, Casey did not let him out at that time. So everything takes a little bit longer. But mind you, yes, we probably, in the grand scheme of things, once Casey talks through all of it, shouldn't have even let him out of the car. Like, that's honestly probably what we should have done. So go ahead. I just want to make sure it was teed up so that people understand you weren't just frustrated because he was being pushy on the walk.
Yeah. So I, went through that whole thing, get him out of the car. You had already had Stella out and you were walking with her and just kind of getting her acclimated to the area, getting her into that heel. And I get Bruno out and he's immediately being super vocal. If I do any little correction on him to get him into that heel that I know that this guy knows, who worked on it a lot with him, super vocal guy. Again, there's only 2 cars at this park, but
that almost made it worse.
There were actually 2 walkers that were coming down the road towards the park. And immediately I felt like, in my mind, like, this can be taken out of context really easily. So I'm trying not to correct him too much to make him too vocal in front of these people. And that was, in hindsight, looking back, that was immediately where, we should have not even taken him out of the car if I felt like that in that situation.
He should have just had him hold it down, stay and hang out in the car, and then me continue to walk with Stella. But again, when it's kind of like, obviously this is our job and this is what we need to do with the dogs. Sometimes it's kind of like, oh, well, we need to get them practicing walking in a different area, the exposure and stuff like that. But what would have been more conducive would have just been having him find his life, laying it down, and not having any of his theatrics work for him for moving forward.
So it was a learning experience for me. But moving forward, so these people walk past, they get in their car, they leave. We start working towards following Kate and Stella. They're a little bit ahead of us.
We were doing a lot of turns and stuff, and I was trying to give you guys space, but then also not getting way ahead. And Stella was being pushy, not crazy, but so I was doing a lot of drop backs and side steps, because the thing about it is, I want to always make sure that it's also understood, when we get out and we understand these dogs are in training, we're trying to work with them. We're not just how you're saying, I'm correcting him. It's no, you're not just I hope that's very clear, that you're not just sitting here correcting him. You're trying to get him to work with you. You're trying to show him hey, I'm dropping back, I'm sidestepping. This isn't just you getting out, moving forward and correcting this dog for getting out of step. I just want to make sure that that's super clear.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm
I look over and you guys are turning.
I'm working hard to get this guy dialed in, and I felt like no effort on his part.
Zero. It was zero effort.
Which is, like I said before, it's extremely frustrating. And again, there were so many signs that like I should have just put it back in the car and had the door open and just let him chill and absorb this environment. But we kept going. And do you want to jump in?
No.
Oh, okay. So, we kept going. Kate and Stella were in front of us, and he just we're like I said, he knows heel, but he is deliberately trying to lead me down this path towards
like
Kate
if Casey,
and Stella.
This was the problem. If Casey wasn't also using the leash to guide him back and keep him in position, if he would have just given him the leash, he wouldn't have even been pushing heel. He would have been gone. Like he was trying to literally just get to me and Stella. Like it wasn't, again, zero effort. So it was, we just I looked at Casey and I'm like, no, we're not doing this. So we, kept trying to move forward a little bit. Yeah. And it was just, I could see Casey getting really frustrated. And I'm like, I know that's not conducive. I know that's not helpful. But I also understand, like I would be looking at it. It's like, are you serious, dude? About Bruno. But again, that's a human emotion being projected onto a dog. But we also do know how smart this dog is and how much he knows. So that's where the frustration was coming from.
Yeah. So we didn't move.
We waved the white flag.
Yeah, we basically turned around after this dude was so loud.
We were trying to bring him on this pretty path. We were going to let them have some...
The first thing that goes into my mind when a dog is literally, it sounds like he's being abused and stuff like that. He is so loud, guys.
Even if you're doing nothing, just because he wants to get forward. That's the thing. And I obviously know that there's a reason you're telling this, not just to be like, we're annoyed with a training dog, because that's not helpful. But you're going to be talking about how what stemmed our reel when we were talking about literally on the car ride back.
Yes.
And so what we ended up doing is we ended up turning around because we're going forward is giving him exactly what he's looking for. It's pulling, vocalizing, all this stuff. And we just went and sat on a bench and had them hold a down stay and had them chill out for a little bit. And I shouldn't say they. Stella had been great the whole time. She was a little what the heck is going on behind me? Because again, she can be super easily aroused and set off by other dogs. But I was very happy that didn't she was looking back and stuff like that, but she didn't cause her to react or anything like that. But we could just tell it was time to call it.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to add before going back and just having them cycle down?
I want to make it clear that it wasn't just your dog just blowing you off. It was blatant. I don't want to be with this person next to me. And I'm if Kate said, if I wouldn't have had a leash on, he would have been gone. And it's, thinking back to, we talked about it after we then made the post on Instagram talking about vocal dogs versus vocal kids and parents and stuff like that. Kind of making
just tantrums out in public,
making a little bit of a
parallel.
Yeah, kind of a, what do you call it? Comparing the two.
Yeah, but
and how people react, other people react to, let's say a dog owner struggling with their dog who's being very vocal versus a kid throwing a tantrum. We were talking about a little bit of that.
Yeah. And the goal of the post was just trying to give people a little bit of when we hear a dog vocalizing and stuff, you assume it's the owner's doing something wrong or the owner's causing that. I also know there is so more or less it's we want to try to bring awareness of people shaming dog owners out there that are really trying hard, because I know if that was his owners going through that, it would not have just been frustrating. It would have been emotional. It would have been embarrassing. It was, parts of it were embarrassing, but the thing about it is I know that also parents get shamed all the time. So this isn't saying that people are just seeing kids throwing tantrums and everyone's oh, that poor parent. Cause you see people, especially on airplanes and stuff, eye rolling and things like that. But point of it was more or less like you kind of expect to see kiddos out having a hard time working through some emotions. And it's just kind of like, yeah, like a kid's going to throw a tantrum. But like you see a dog and it's immediately like the owners must be doing something wrong. Or it's not just the dog truly having a moment. It's has to be something that the owner is doing, which sometimes I'm sure, but most of the time, like even though dogs and humans are very different, some of these dogs are truly throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
And I think, what's that?
Go ahead.
I think the point of it too is like, if you guys are listening to this and thinking like, oh my gosh, like I've been there, like know that you're not alone. Like we don't struggle with that honestly too much. And that's why we're sharing it, because it's like, wow, like this is what some owners are struggling with. So it's like, we understand if it's like, I'm trying that, I'm trying this, I've done that, I've done this. Like, I believe you. Like when people, you know, I have virtuals and it's typically some of our more, you know, intense herding dogs that we hear a lot of this. So like, there's a lot of stuff that's like nuanced work that has to be done. It's just different. Like if people are like, you know, owning a German Shepherd is the same as owning a pug. Like, no, it's not even close. Like these are not,
hell no.
These are not dogs for just your normal, like I want a family pet dog. So that's where we see a lot of struggles. And then there's also a massive amount of overbreeding. So then you're not only getting, you know, genetics that we're not totally sure on, but you're also getting people that are maybe active and live a, you know, more active lifestyle, but it's a different dog. Like they feel like a different dog in a cool way too. Like they're, you know, shepherds in general are so, you know, fun to work with,
They're
but
just capable of different things.
Yeah. So with that, like what stemmed me from like literally getting home and immediately making that post was just that, like, I know there's so many posts out there like, you're not alone, like keep trusting the process. And yes, because I make posts like that too. And I want you to continue to do that. But also like, it's okay once in a while to wave the white flag. If you're like, I'm going out because I feel like I should be with my dog because we need exposure and stuff like that, I want you to also be like, is this in both of our best interests? Like, is anyone getting anything out of this? And if the answer is no, it's okay. It's okay to go back and maybe just have them hang out in the car or go home. And that's all right too.
Yeah. I think something that like stuck out to me, and this is just like where we usually are at with dogs. So Bruno, the dog that we're talking about that was extremely vocal and tough on the leash with me, he had been here for a week and a half already, and talking about like where we typically have dogs at, let's say if they're in a 2.5 week, he's a 3-week program. But even so, depending upon the dog, they usually learn like almost everything within that like week and a half or week period. And then it's practicing, proofing. They're going to learn some more things for sure. But like the fundamentals are built, like the foundation is built already. Like Kate has done an amazing job doing that. And you do that with every single dog. And Bruno and Stella both had that, except that it seems like every time, especially with a tougher dog, like sometimes when they come out of the kennel in the morning, it's like, oh, I just forgot everything, or I'm challenging everything. Or so there's certainly like dogs that like challenge us more too when they're here. Like I know some people may see like dogs that we train like, oh, you know, you guys get them
so
into a good
them.
headspace so easy. Like in a lot of cases, like that is, we do get them going, you know, 4 or 5 days, 6 days in, like they're doing a lot of the things that we ask them to, because we're held them accountable. They know where they're at. We know where they're at. But sometimes like for these shepherds or Bruno in particular, it's a little bit every day, a little bit more teaching, a little bit more. So it's a little bit of an adjustment.
Yeah, you kind of never know, honestly. And even if like Bruno's owners are listening to this, I don't know if you are, like, this is where it's like hopefully more helpful than like when we share this kind of stuff, because we're okay with tackling it. Like, yeah, it's frustrating, and yeah, it's not an ideal situation, but that's why we share so much, is because when we take on certain dogs that have like been through other training, he's had 4 years of patterning. Like, that's why we're so upfront about being like, it's going to be a head start because of all of the patterning. Think about 4 years you've lived a certain way, and then you have to change a lot of that in 3 weeks. But then they're such smart dogs, and we're just going to talk about Bruno in particular, that he learns patterns so quickly. So now he's learned our patterns within the first couple of days. Mm-hmm. That's what then added in the challenge. It's great that he can learn patterns quickly, but then that's when we get like, okay, now he knows he's going to anticipate this. He knows that the first time that Kate comes down in the morning, that means work time starts. So it's like, once he learned our patterns is actually where we started to see him get challenging, because the first like 4-ish days, to be honest, yeah, he had his moments, but like he was easier of the two. Once Stella got comfortable, she was my pushy one right off the bat, which kind of switched. So now the challenge is every time I go down to the kennel room, I don't know what I'm gonna get, and that can be challenging, because it's like yesterday I'm like, I'm going to do afternoon walks. We did treadmill time in the morning and group duration and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm going to go do some pre-dinner walks. And I probably was in more of a chill, calm head space. The dogs were. I didn't have to take any stories because it was Sunday. And they both had beautiful walks. And it was very enjoyable. I don't know what I'll walk down to today, So it's like, yeah. I think that it's important for trainers to talk about this kind of stuff too, so that it helps owners feel less alone. And like, even if it means Kate struggled too, or Casey struggled too. Yep. And that's okay. And you're going to. So that's where it's like, it's super important for you to be like, hey, do I need to do XYZ with my dog? Like, is that, for instance, I am not going to probably bring Bruno or Stella, to be honest, to Home Depot. Not because they can't handle it, not because I can't handle it, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't feel like going to Home Depot is going to be the exposure and experience either of those dogs. I'm just using Home Depot as an example. Either of those dogs need to truly be successful back home with their owners.
Any sort of indoor store.
Yeah, I'm just using that because that's one that you can bring dogs to. So could they do it? Yep, they could. Could we do it? For sure. But I don't know necessarily what that would do for them or their owner to be like, we checked that box. But for Louis,
is that a realistic goal?
Right. But for like Louis, it was a great experience for him. He's a younger dog. He needed some extra confidence building. He's not human or dog reactive. So it's also one of those things where it's like, you have to be mindful of like the dog that you have. And is it also responsible for me to bring a dog that I don't know if they're going to be super vocal. I don't know if they're going to, have a moment. I'm not going to bring a dog into a public space, especially an indoor public space, that it's like there are a lot of unknowns. And that's where it's like, that's okay, owners. Like, you don't have to do some of the things that you see us do with a lot of the dogs that we're working with. So it's more or less like, we know how like frustrating and lonely sometimes it can be to be working through challenging behaviors. And we hope that you know that, like, take it as it comes. And if you need to change course. Like, don't do it to say that, even if you meet up with a friend to do something, like, what if Casey and I had just met up and I had a dog? Like, we would have had to do our own thing, and that's okay. And sometimes that sucks, and it's okay to be like, it sucks. Like, but find things that feel good for you and your dog to do together that actually feels conducive for the progress that you guys are looking to make.
Yeah. Anyways, that was my topic today.
All right, good. Do you have your peeve and highlights? I feel like we kind of talked about ours, but
honestly, my peeve is the FedEx guy and his delivery methods.
Okay.
They're garbage.
Okay. What's your highlight?
Highlights.
You want to think on it? Well,
yeah.
Okay. I'm going to start with my highlight because I can't think of my peeve right now. My highlight is on, I don't know what day it was, maybe Friday. We did an impromptu private dog park visit with our dogs and just down the street. And They're so cute. Like, it's just, I just love them so much. So just seeing them like running to us and zooms, like the cutest thing ever. So it's probably my highlight of the week.
I would say that's up there as one of my highlights, but I'm going to say a different one. We, in the past, had really enjoyed the show Yellowstone, and we just got back into it because we finished a different show, and we've just been glued to it. We'll probably catch up in like 2 days.
Well, we stopped watching. We just realized that we rewatched season 4 completely over. But the reason we stopped watching season 5 is we couldn't stream it anymore because we were watching it on Paramount Plus. And then like the episodes were just off of there, even though season 5 was out. And then we just gave up because we couldn't figure out where to stream it. And now we are watching it on Peacock.
So I'm actually I have a shirt that has Yellowstone Dutton Ranch on it. I'm wearing it underneath my sweatshirt right now. But it's such a good show, and you're just glued to it. So we're enjoying it again right now. We just got to the episode where it's season 5, episode 1. John Dutton becomes the governor of Montana. Yeah. And also, I looked it up. I think a lot of the show is actually filmed in Utah, but man, it is beautiful. Wherever they're filming, I'm like, I want to go there. Like his house and everything, like the lodge and the ranch. Nice. It's like, oh my God. I know like that wood loggy thing like isn't necessarily our style, but that house is gorgeous. Yeah, I like the outside more of the barn, the white barn with the black Yellowstone on it versus, I mean, the house is so cool. I love both of them. Yeah. They're just amazing. Yeah. So anyways, we're enjoying that show again. If you have never watched Yellowstone, highly recommend it. It's a great show. Yeah. And then, of course, I go into looking and Googling what everyone makes per episode. In season 5, Kevin Costner makes $1.3 million per episode. Like, what? Yeah. What? Huh? And then, like, Luke Grimes. Is that his name? Grimes? Who? Casey. I don't know his actual name. Okay. Luke Grimes, I think it is. Like, only makes $200,000 an episode. I'm like, I'll take it. It's fine. Oh, really? Yeah, which is actually kind of surprising to me. That's a lot less than... Well, Kevin Costner is literally like, he's been an actor, sought after in so many different movies for so many years. I don't know. I mean, that's a huge jump. But my peeve of the week is smells you can't locate. So, like stinky smells that you can't locate. We walked down to the kennel room, and I mean, I'm kind of glad we can't locate it because it means there wasn't like a blowout in the crate or anything like that. But I swear the other day I walked down and I'm like, oh no, someone pooped in the crate. No poop. There's no poop to be found. Which would be odd because our whole crew we've had now for almost 2 weeks, and to just have like a poop issue now would be odd. Well, that's why I thought maybe it was Maple. She was a boarding dog back, but no poop in her crate. But we do think she might have been the culprit of some tooting. Some tooting. God, it was potent. Either it was that or she was doing it right in front of the fan or something. It was like, damn, we need to air this thing out. We had the garage door open, like fans on. And then, put some like scent diffuser in here. Like, we need to air this thing out. So then literally Sunday, the day that she left, and we're kind of blaming it on her because the smell left. We don't know for sure. The smell's gone. We weren't like Maple, you stink. We weren't like that at all. We were like, Maple, do you have the farts? Are you farting? So like I let her out extra too, thinking like, do you have to poo? And she did. Like she was going poo, but I don't know. Someone was tooting, letting him rip, and so we just did like a deep clean. The garbage also smelled, so like there was a whole thing, but we were like, it also smelled, but I mean, I had just taken it out 2 days prior, so I didn't think that would be the issue. Yeah, we were just, it was everything, whatever smelt needed to go. So we did a little bit of a sanitization and deep clean in the kennel room, impromptu. Well, it was just interesting too because one day this past week we were at our friend's amazing garage gym, and it smelt like garbage mixed with poop, and it doesn't normally smell like that. And so they were also like, what the heck? Like, what is going on? So smells that you can't locate,
stinky smells that you can't locate, and all you want is for them to be gone. That's my peeve of the week.
Yeah. On another note, though, down in the kennel room.
Gosh,
excuse me. Oh my God, what is going on? I did not just smoke a pack before this. Okay.
Jeez.
Down in the kennel room this morning, it smells magnificent down there.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so it was really nice. I mean, open the door, I was like,
fresh. All right.
nice.
Good.
Anyways,
all right,
let's
guys.
get going.
Yep, we're gonna get on with our Monday. We've got a busy week ahead. 3 shadow students start on Wednesday. The 3 dogs that we have right now go home. 3 new dogs come in. So it's going to be a week for me. It'll be a good week, but when I say for me, it's just because I have to be on a lot starting Wednesday, like teaching other trainers, go home sessions, drop offs. So I'll be ready for a nap come Saturday.
We got it all happening this week.
Yes.
So
all right, guys. Thanks for being here.
We'll see you next time.
Share. Give us a 5-star review.
Like it, yeah.
And if
stars.
you don't, bye.
Yeah, if you don't like it, then just stop listening to us.
And we will see you next Tuesday.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.